Rollers 2015 roster of skaters. Skating in red and gold for the Unholy Rollers this evening. Number 10, Abby Negative. 800M, Bada Boombox. Number 65, Blanche Devereaux. B222, Bumble Beatdown. Number 247, Dive Hard. B1T, Fang Dangled. 314, Gertrude Awakening. 1618, Goldie Mean. Number 8, Hannah Cuffs. Number 847, Hello Sailor. 73 BC, I Am Spazicus. D4, Magic Missile. 131, Molly Tov. 48 UM, Micro Mauler. Number V5, Scarlet Osneria. 987, Splatter Alice. Number 22, Tango de Muerte. C7, The Manipulator. Number 13, Twisted Halo. 27, Wildberry Punch. Wildberry Punch will be supporting the Unholy Rollers on the bench. El Machete. Rita Slayworth will also be benching tonight. Shrimp Trampy. And they're also joined on the bench by Detour. Let's hear it for your 2015 Unholy Rollers. And skating in her final bout of the season tonight for the Unholy Rollers, Twisted Halo, number 13.
And now it is time to introduce their opponents for tonight's bout, the defending champions, the Reservoir Dolls. Number 27 is Blitz Siren. Number P1MP, Busta Crimes. Number W01F, Call It Wild. Number 33 is Charlie Hustle. Number 18, Full Frontal Judity. Number 366 is Gene Lane. Number 565, Glockness. Number 30 year, Hopscotch. Number 1213 is Knocking Jay. Number 31, Lady Hoo-Ha. Number K155 is Lip Smacker. Number 4 is Mouse. Number 1776, Rebel with a Cause. Next up is number 8, Sassbot. Number 9mm is Shenanigans. Skating in at 10 inches, it's Sprouting a Tail. Number 77, Stank Girl, the Stench Wench. Number 50 is The Heat. Number 54, Violet Fire. and number 6, Wipeout Scout. The Reservoir Dolls are supported by from the bench by Claripath, Dutch Oven, and Pretty Reckless. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2015 Reservoir Dolls.
And skating officials for this bout are Eddie Lizard, the Gorham Reaver, Stabby McDudebro, Z-Dork, Bjorn to Kill, Death Nelly, Polly Wog, and Uno Mas. Non-skating officials are Modus Pawns, Strife of Riley, Ms. Informed, Show Nuff, Dread Gazebo, Irene Adler, Keister Bunny, Captain Emo, Agru, Squeaky Fromage, Brazzle Dazzle, Mr. Welch, Roadblock, Diaphragm, Jezebel O'Kitty, Show Nuff, Uno Mas, and Thaco. And we're going to get right down to the action, starting on the Plan B jammer line. First, for the Reservoir Dolls, jamming is Charlie Hustle, up against Magic Missile, jamming for the Unholy Rollers.
Magic Missile is going to sneak around the outside to take the first lead jam of this bout. Looks like she is followed by Charlie Hustle. So both skaters are going to be working on making their scoring pass here.
And Magic Missile gets up to the pack, sneaks around the outside, and calls the jam off after scoring 1 point for the Unholy Rollers. Quick start to the bout, quick call off of that jam, and we'll get right on to the next jam of the evening. Jamming for the Reservoir Dolls on the Plan B jammer line is, well, before that, it looks like we're going to have a little bit of a timeout here. Gives me a good chance to thank one of our great sponsors. That's Hinckley Design and Production. Always at turn 1 and 4, Hinckley Productions, proudly filming Mad Rollin' Dolls Roller Derby since 2008. They film all our bouts, edit our commercials, and provide live video streaming for major tournaments. Please consider Hinckley Productions for your next video project. HinkleyProductions.com.
We do have a shout out from the crowd here. Happy birthday, Dame, Dude, and Conan. Love your birthday buddy, Whiskey.
All right, quite a few birthdays tonight. Great way to celebrate it here at the Roller Derby, and we're going to get you back down to the action on the track. Jamming for the Reservoir Dolls on the Plan B jammer line, we've got Sprout and a Tail up against Magic Missile, jamming for the Unholy Rollers. Looks like Magic Missile is starting off this jam in the penalty box. That leaves Sprout and a Tail with a power jam for the Reservoir Dolls. She gets past the pack of Unholy Rollers and is declared lead jammer for this jam.
Yeah, the Reservoir Dolls defense are going to get off to the side, allowing Sprout and a Tail wide berth to get through, and then going to jump through to try to poke a hole for her.
Slowing down the pack by staying behind, and then as their jammer gets up to the pack, they run up as well and try to play a little bit of offense. Unholy Rollers defense, though, holding Sprout and a Tail back. She gets by, though, with a little bit of jumping and great agility on her skates, getting through for a Minnie Madison Grand Slam and 5 points for the Reservoir Dolls.
In the meantime, Magic Missile has been released from the penalty box and is out looking to score some points for the Unholy Rollers. However, the jam will be called before she can get to the pack and start scoring points. Looks like after that jam, we have Reservoir Dolls with a score of 8, Unholy Rollers 1.
And on the Plan B jammer line for the Reservoir Dolls, we have number 4, Mouse, jamming for the Reservoir Dolls, up against Blanche Devereaux, number 65, for the Unholy Rollers. The whistle blows and both jammers take off, trying to fight their way through the pack of blockers. Blanche Devereaux just moving her feet as fast as she can past the Reservoir Dolls blockers. She gets out of the pack and she's lead jam for the Unholy Rollers.
In the meantime, Mouse had been knocked to the back of the pack, recycled to the back by number 13. That's Twisted Halo for the Unholy Rollers. She is still in the pack, whereas we have Blanche Devereaux having made it through for another Mini of Madison Grand Slam.
Great job by the Unholy Rollers blockers, Twisted Halo, Gertrude Awakening, Bada Boombox, and Hello Sailor, holding Mouse back for a Mini of Madison Grand Slam by their jammer. She calls off the jam as she gets to the pack, and that brings the Unholy Rollers up to 6 points, Reservoir Dolls at 8. And we'll start another jam here with Unholy Rollers jammer Fang Dangled on the line for red and gold. On the line for the Reservoir Dolls, jamming in black and white, Charlie Hustle.
Whistle blows, action begins. Both jammers get right down to business trying to work through the pack here. Looks like there is a multi-block penalty called on, looks like it was number 366, Jean Lane for the Reservoir Dolls. Both jammers still working through the pack.
And a couple more whistles blow for some additional penalties. Fang Dangled makes it out of the pack for the Unholy Rollers. She is your lead jammer. It looks like Charlie Hustle has been called to the penalty box, so she will spend 30 seconds rather, not minutes, in the Monkey Bar Gym penalty box. That would be quite a penalty if she had to serve 30 minutes.
That would be quite the penalty indeed. Sit out half of the bout. In the meantime, Fang Dangle's worked around, gotten herself one Mini of Madison Grand Slam and 5 points. Looks like she's working to try to get it again, but the Reservoir Dolls blockers are not going to make it easy for her. And she's going to call off that jam once the Reservoir Doll skaters Jean Lane and Charlie Hustle get released from the penalty box.
Hopscotch, Busted Crimes, and Blitz Siren making it hard for her to get past that blocker there. She calls it off. Unholy Rollers up to 12 points, Reservoir Dolls at 8. And on the Plan B jammer line, we've got Splatter Alice jamming for the Unholy Rollers. Sprout and a Tail jamming for the Reservoir Dolls. Splatter Alice takes off to the outside, trying to get around a blocker wall of Knocking Jay, Shenanigans, Lip Smacker, and Call It a Wild. Meanwhile, Unholy Rollers getting broken up by Sprout and a Tail in the back. She gets around the outside and is lead jammer for the Reservoir Dolls.
Yeah, it looks like Splatter Alice is still working her way against that pack of Reservoir Dolls blockers. Looks like we have Lip Smacker up there doing a lot of work to keep her back.
Shenanigans up there in the front of the pack too, holding Splatter Alice. She finally gets by, but is not lead jammer. Meanwhile, Sprout and a Tail through the pack. Another 4 points for the Reservoir Dolls. And she decides to call that jam off. Unholy Rollers staying at 12 points. Reservoir Dolls moving up to 17 points.
I'd like to take a moment here to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, Hometown Pilates. Fitness the way nature intended. Corrective exercise for peak performance. Hometown Pilates. Speaking of our sponsors, we would like to give another special shout out. Tonight, we'd like to thank all the people that keep us rolling, our sponsors. They're sitting right over there in their very own VIP section. Thanks for keeping us rolling.
And on the jammer, on jamming for the Unholy Rollers, we've got Magic Missile, D4 out there up against Buster Crimes and Jean Lane. She gets through and is lead jammer. Jamming for the Reservoir Dolls, we've got Charlie Hustle, number 33, trying to get past Unholy Roller Molly Taub there in the front of the pack. Being slowed down. Out of the pack now, but not lead, while Magic Missile gets around and scores 4 points for the Unholy Rollers. Being lead jammer, she calls that jam off before the Reservoir Dolls can get any additional points. That brings us to a 1-point game. Unholy Rollers 16 points, Reservoir Dolls 17 points. Let's hear it for both teams. Yeah. All right. How many of you are out here tonight cheering on the Unholy Rollers? All right. And how many of you are out here cheering on the Reservoir Dolls? And we've got Mouse jamming for the Reservoir Dolls up against Blanche Devereaux on the Unholy Rollers.
Mouse wasting no time getting through the pack there, taking lead jam for the Unholy Rollers, whipping around the track at breakneck speeds. But flawlessly following behind her is Blanche Devereaux. Both skaters are looking to make their scoring pass.
And Mouse gets to the front, calls off that jam just as Blanche Devereaux is taken down by a Reservoir Doll skater in the back of the pack. No points for the Unholy Rollers, 4 points for the Reservoir Dolls in that jam. And we'd like to thank another one of our sponsors, Pabst Blue Ribbon, PBR, the official beer of Roller Derby in Madison. PBR me ASAP. Lining up on the Plan B jammer line, we've got Fang Dangled for the Unholy Rollers, jamming against Sprout and a Tail for the Reservoir Dolls.
Yeah, both teams clustering up in the pack, doing their best to block back the opposing jammer.
Unholy Rollers taking Sprout and a Tail to the outside of the track. It looks like she was called on a penalty and will make her way to the Monkey Bar Gym penalty box for 30 seconds. Fang Dangled left on the track as lead jammer, and this gives the Unholy Rollers a power jam.
Yep, it's going to see what they can do to perhaps pull ahead of the Reservoir Dolls here. Definitely a fantastic time to take and widen a lead.
And Unholy Rollers hanging back, letting Fang Dangled break her way through the wall of shenanigans. Jean Lane and Lip Smacker at the front of the pack. Just as Sprout and a Tail comes in from the box, Unholy Rollers wall in the back, holding her up.
Looks like Fang Dangled, I believe, was trawled out on a track cut penalty. So we have a little bit of a change of scenario here. So now we have a power jam for Sprout and a Tail and the Reservoir Dolls.
And in that same jam, we went from a power jam for the Unholy Rollers to a power jam for the Reservoir Dolls. And as Fang Dangled sits in the penalty box for 30 seconds, Sprout and a Tail will have her way on the track, getting through the pack and scoring a Mini Madison Grand Slam and 5 points for the Reservoir Dolls. She laps around the track again. Coming up to the Unholy Rollers wall, she breaks her way through and dive hard, taking her out to the outside of the track right at the end before the jam is called. That's 4 points for the Reservoir Dolls. And that'll bring the Reservoir Dolls to 30 points, Unholy Rollers at 21. Still about 19 minutes in this jam. I'm sorry, in this period.
Do have another quick shout out from the crowd here to Nefarious, Trevi, Zoe, and Mustang. Once a Vixen, always a Vixen. Love Vixen rookies.
Vixen for life. And now jamming for the Reservoir Dolls, we have Blitz Siren on the Plan B jammer line. She comes through the pack and gets lead jam. Whips her way around the track and is back in scoring position.
And she is jamming against Magic Missile on the Unholy Rollers. Magic Missile just breaking through the pack. However, she is not your lead jammer.
Magic Missile not getting a chance to score any points as Blitz Siren gets to the front of the pack there and calls the jam off. And we'd like to thank Eon Massage and Bodywork tonight, another one of our great sponsors, committed to health, yours and the planet's. Eon Massage and Bodywork.
Things getting back into the action here. We've got Mouse jamming for the Reservoir Dolls. She's up against Blanche Devereaux for the Unholy Rollers. Mouse taking a quick lead jam on this jam. Looks like Blanche Devereaux is breaking out of the pack herself. However, she is not your lead jammer.
And Mouse making her way back into the pack, fighting past the Unholy Rollers and calling that jam off before Blanche Devereaux able to score any points for the Unholy Rollers. Mouse scores 3 points, for the Reservoir Dolls, bringing their total to 38 points against the Unholy Rollers' 21 points.
Do have another shout out from the crowd here, maybe calling out one of our mascots. Urge is the cutest little mascot ever. You don't scare us at all.
And that's Urge, the Unholy Rollers mascot. You'll notice he's skating around, or walking around with blood handprints around his head and stuff. I guess not scary to somebody out there.
Getting back down to the action on the track, we've got Splatter Alice jamming for the Unholy Rollers up against Sprout and a Tail for the Reservoir Dolls. Sprout taking the lead jam for her team. However, Splatter Alice is also through the pack and is going to be looking to make her scoring pass.
And Sprout gets up to the front of the pack, turns around, calls the jam off after scoring 4 points for the Reservoir Dolls. Not allowing Splatter Alice to score any points for the Unholy Rollers. That brings the Reservoir Dolls to 42 points. Unholy Rollers at 21. Reservoir Dolls doubling the Unholy Rollers points here on the board, but anything can happen in these last 16 minutes of the first period here. And on the Plan B jammer line, we've got Fang Dangled for the Unholy Rollers jamming against Blitz Siren of the Reservoir Dolls. Fang Dangled making her way through the back of the pack, getting past some of the Reservoir Dolls, only to be greeted by some additional Reservoir Dolls in the front. Blitz Siren coming out of that pack as lead jammer for the Reservoir Dolls.
Looks like Fang Dangled still working against that Reservoir Dolls defense, looking like Buster Crime and
Hopscotch. Taking, yeah, nice wall there by Busta Crimes and Hopscotch against Fang Dangled in the front of the pack. Blitz Siren now in on her point scoring pass up against 4 Unholy Rollers. She calls that jam off after scoring 3 points for the Reservoir Dolls before the Unholy Roller jammer can get around and score any points.
Now that jam does end with both Hopscotch and Charlie Hustle being sent to the penalty box for the Reservoir Dolls. So the Reservoir Dolls are going to start at a significantly diminished pack strength for this jam rather.
And the Reservoir Dolls looks like they're going to have Wipeout Scout on the track blocking for them. And jamming will be Mouse for the Reservoir Dolls, going up against Blanche Devereaux of the Unholy Rollers. With only one blocker for the Reservoir Dolls, Blanche Devereaux just gets right through there, and she is lead jammer for the Unholy Rollers.
However, Mouse is out and right on her tail. She is looking to close that gap, and in fact, she sneaks around the inside, overtaking Blanche Devereaux, picking up 4 points for the Reservoir Dolls before Blanche calls off the jam.
And Blanche gets knocked down there, calls off the jam, but Mouse jumps through on the inside line and scores 4 points for those Reservoir Dolls. On the Plan B jammer line for the Unholy Rollers, it looks like we're going to have Magic Missile D4 jamming. And for the Reservoir Dolls, we will have a Sprout and a Tail out there jamming in black and white. Reservoir Dolls still depleted blockers coming in from the penalty box there. Meanwhile, Magic Missile, lead jammer for the Unholy Rollers. She gets around, gets through, just as Sprout and a Tail is getting out of the pack on her lead pass.
That's right, both jammers neck and neck, passing their lead back and forth for a while there. But right now, Sprout and a Tail entering the pack first, getting knocked to the inside. Looked like by Splatter Alice, gets recycled to the back. This allows Magic Missile to get through, getting 4 points for her team.
And Sprout and a Tail getting through the pack, also scoring 4 points for the Reservoir Dolls. But Magic Missile around the track and through the pack again Another 4 points for the Unholy Rollers, and she calls off the jam before the Reservoir Dolls jammer can score any additional points. That'll bring the Unholy Rollers to 34 points. Reservoir Dolls at 53.
Have another shout out we'd like to read here from you, the audience. When evil fights evil, who can keep the chaos under control other than the referees? Go Team Zebra!
Yeah, let's hear it for the referees. Woo!
All right, getting back down to the action on the track. Looks like we have Mouse jamming for the Reservoir Dolls, getting both her and Unholy Roller jammer Fang Dangle getting a bit of a running start there. Fang Dangle gets to break through first, sneaking around the outside, taking lead jam for the Unholy Rollers.
And I think that Mouse knocked Fang Dangled out to the inside track and then went backwards there, trying to get her to cut the track. Meanwhile, Fang Dangled took advantage and got through the pack first, got lead jam, got 4 points, and then called that jam off before Mouse could score anything for the Reservoir Dolls.
Got another quick shout out for you guys here. Just an update on the Mr. Carlson situation. Mr. Carlson is not here. He's visiting Rosalie. Well, we miss you, Mr. Carlson.
We sure do.
Maybe you're watching this recording on YouTube once Hinckley Design and Production puts it on up there.
That's right. And on the jammer line now, we've got Blanche Devereaux jamming again for the Unholy Rollers. She's jamming up against Blitz Siren of the Reservoir Dolls. Making her way to the inside, the outside of the track, trying to find an opening. Blitz Siren and Blanche both trying to find ways past the tight wall of defense that the other team is putting up. And it looks like Blitz Siren has made her way through after a whole track. And she is lead jammer for the Reservoir Dolls.
Blanche Devereaux still hanging out towards the back of the pack, working on getting through the Reservoir Dolls defense.
Meanwhile, Blitz Siren taking a little bit of a hit. Nice little turnaround and do-si-do. She gets through the pack and gets a Minia Madison Grand Slam for the Reservoir Dolls. That's 5 more points up on the board. Blitz Siren keeps skating her way around the track. Another Minia Madison Grand Slam as the Reservoir Dolls hold Blanche Devereaux in the pack and hold the Unholy Rollers scoreless in this jam.
Oh, looks like quite the tumble on the inside towards the apex there. Looks like Jean Lane knocked out Blanche Devereaux. Is going to recycle her to the back of the pack.
And while the Reservoir Dolls blockers are just tiring out the Unholy Roller jammer, Blanche Devereaux, Blitz Siren is making her way around the track again and again for the Reservoir Dolls and getting another Minia Madison Grand Slam. I think that's her 3rd. Let's hear it for Blitz Siren and the Reservoir Dolls.
Looks like Blitz Siren's going to go for an additional pass here, trying to pick up some more points.
And we got some whistles on the track. It looks like the jam was either called off or did expire. Blitz Siren and the Reservoir Dolls bringing their lead up to 75 points. Unholy Rollers at 38. And it looks like we have a timeout called for the Unholy Rollers.
Yep, the Unholy Rollers have called for an official review, so we'll see what is going to be happening out there. In the meantime, take a moment to thank a few more of our sponsors, like Ian's Pizza. Ian's Pizza has 2 downtown locations offering carryout and delivery. Salad, pizza, vegan, and gluten-free options. www.ianspizza.com, here to help, one slice at a time.
Another one of our pizza sponsors, Rich, is Glass Nickel Pizza East. In pizza, we trust. Glass Nickel Pizza East. We've also, one of our great sponsors and the location of our after party tonight, the High Noon Saloon. High Noon Saloon voted Madison's favorite live music venue and Madison's favorite place for karaoke. Come join us tonight for our after party location at the High Noon Saloon, where we'll be able to engage in some great karaoke action.
All right, it looks like that official review has wrapped up. Skaters are getting back on the track. Lining up on the Plan B jammer line, we have Mouse jamming for the Reservoir Dolls, jamming up against, looks like, Blanche Devereaux for the Unholy Rollers, who is not on the track. She is, in fact, hanging out in the penalty box. So as the jam begins, Mouse starts in a power jam. She's going to sneak around the inside to claim lead jam.
And the Reservoir Dolls blockers bringing the Unholy Rollers to the outside, allowing Mouse to get that nice little sneak on the inside there. She gets around the track and is going for her point scoring pass now. Looking for some help from her blockers. She gets it and gets through for a Minnie Madison Grand Slam and 5 points for the Reservoir Dolls.
Looks like Blanche Devereaux's back on the track. I've been informed that she went out on a penalty for an illegal star pass at the end of the last jam. But she is now back in the action, having been recycled to the back of the pack by Shenanigans.
Mouse taking her time, waiting for a little bit of offense from her blockers. Waiting for her spot to get through, and she does so. Getting another 4 points for the Reservoir Dolls. Blanche Devereaux trying to fight past Shenanigans, the Heat wipeout scout and full frontal Judity blocking for the Reservoir Dolls, and she does get through on her lead pass. Mouse, however, getting through the pack and calling that jam off after another Minnie Madison Grand Slam and 5 points for the Reservoir Dolls.
Got another shout out from the audience here. Says, thanks, Denim Dan, for being an awesome Res Dolls fan forever. Looking down to the track, action's about to begin. Lining up on the Plan B jammer line, we have Sproutin' a Tail jamming for the Reservoir Dolls, jamming up against Magic Missile for the Unholy Rollers.
Sproutin' a Tail making her way past the back of the pack, only to meet up with Molotov and Handcuffs at the front. But getting through, Sproutin' a Tail, lead jammer for the Reservoir Dolls.
It looks like Magic Missile had been recycled to the back of the pack by Shenanigans, but Shenanigans has now been pulled back to the penalty box. So Magic Missile is shot forward, working on getting a scoring pass. Looks like the jam was called off before she could put any points up on the board.
And Sproutin' a Tail calling off that jam, but not before she scores 3 more points for the Reservoir Dolls.
That does bring our score to Reservoir Dolls 92, Unholy Rollers 38, with 6 minutes remaining in this first half.
We'd like to thank another one of our sponsors, American Family Insurance, the Lindacote Insurance Agency of American Family next to McDonald's on Monona Drive, protecting futures for more than 40 years. Your dream is out there, go get it. We'll protect it. American Family Insurance.
Getting back to the track, the jam has begun. We have Fang Dangle jamming for the Unholy Rollers up against Blitz Siren for the Reservoir Dolls. Fang Dangle breaking through, taking lead jam for the Unholy Rollers. Looks like Blitz Siren just working on getting past that last Unholy Roller blocker. Breaking through, going to work on making her scoring pass. Res Dolls skaters keeping the pack moving at a very quick rate.
They're getting up to the front of the pack as Fang Dangled gets through and is approaching her scoring pass. She gets up to that wall of Reservoir Dolls and calls off the jam, but scores 3 points for the Unholy Rollers before the Reservoir Dolls can score any additional points.
Got another shout out from the crowd here. Thanks, Rebel Ron, Mitz, Robin, and Rich for being with us tonight. Your Res Dolls love you.
And on the jammer line for the Reservoir Dolls, we've got number 4, Mouse, jamming against 314, Gertrude Awakening for the Unholy Rollers. Mouse, quick sneak through the pack, and she is lead jammer for the Reservoir Dolls. Gertrude Awakening getting out of the pack, not lead jammer. And Mouse getting through the pack quickly, scoring 4 points and calling that jam off before the Unholy Rollers can add any points on to their total.
I'd like to take a moment to thank another one of our sponsors, Willie Street Co-op. We are a full-service grocery cooperative specializing in natural, organic, and locally produced foods. That is Willie Street Co-op. Another great sponsor of ours is the Vintage Brewing Company. We're a family-owned and operated brew pub in beautiful Madison, Wisconsin, featuring elevated Americana cuisine and an eclectic array of highly acclaimed house-made brews. Stop in for a brew and bite.
And back down on the track, we've got Magic Missile jamming for the Unholy Rollers up against Sprout and a Tail for the Reservoir Dolls. Both jammers taken to the inside of the track. It looks like Magic Missile called on a track cut penalty, and that'll send her to the Monkey Bar Gym penalty box for 30 seconds. She's followed shortly, though, by Sprout and a Tail, also sent to the penalty box. So that'll release Magic Missile. Sprout will only have to serve the amount of time that Magic Missile was in the penalty box, and now they're both back on the track.
It looks like Magic Missile is going to be sneaking around the outside to take starting a scoring pass here. Of course, since both jammers went to the penalty box, we no longer have a lead jammer.
And
so this
jam
will go out to the full 2 minutes.
That's right, Rich. And both jammers went to the penalty box on their lead pass. So when they return to the track, they have to finish their lead pass. Now both jammers done with their lead pass, into the pack, scoring for their team, and they will be skating the full 2 minutes here. Magic Missile through the pack for 4 points, followed by Sprout and a Tail through the pack for 4 points.
Looks like Magic Missile's taking another pass there, getting another 4 points. In the meantime, Sprout and a Tail has been recycled to the back.
And Magic Missile makes her way past that line of blockers there, not really a pack, strung out to try and pull Sprout and a Tail to the back. She makes it through the pack as well. Magic Missile on another point scoring pass through the pack, and it looks like these jammers are just going to be skating around until that whistle is called, which happens now. They ended 2 minutes, so 2 more points scored, I think, there for the Reservoir Dolls. Another 4 for the Unholy Rollers, and that'll bring the points to 106 for the Reservoir Dolls, Unholy Rollers at 58. We've got a shout out here from the Reservoir Dolls. We love you, Rebel with a cause. Thank you for inspiring us all. Love the Reservoir Dolls, or the Res Dolls, as they're formerly called.
Getting back down to the action, we have Charlie Hustle jamming for the Reservoir Dolls in black, up against Splatter Alice jamming for the Unholy Rollers in gold.
And Charlie Hustle gets out of the pack first, but she is called off the track for a back blocking penalty. It looks like she'll be going to the Monkey Bar Gym penalty box for 30 seconds, leaving the Unholy Rollers with a power jam. Splatter Alice, jammer for the Unholy Rollers. She's taking herself out to the middle of the track, looking like she's adjusting her skates, but before she does that, she passes the star off to Tango de Muerte. And that's a WORT Back Porch Radio in Madison star pass from the Unholy Rollers jammer Splatter Alice to Tango de Muerte pivot on the Unholy Rollers.
Looks like Splatter Alice has gotten her skates sorted and is back on the track.
Tango de Muerte trying to fight past the blocking wall of the Unholy Rollers, still holding on to the jammer cover, not putting it on until she gets out of that pack. Not lead jam, but she is through the pack now, gets that jammer cover on, and she will be able to start scoring points here. Charlie Hustle was in from the penalty box, but on her way through the pack there, she picked up a track cut penalty and is sent back to the Monkey Bar Gym penalty box. Tango de Muerte on the track for the Unholy Rollers in a power jam. Getting a little bit of help up there from Molly Taub and Bumble Beatdown. She gets through for a Mini Madison Grand Slam and 5 points for the Unholy Rollers.
It looks like she's going to be working on making her next scoring pass just as Charlie Hustle has been released from the penalty box. And just as the jam clock timer is ending, which brings us into the halftime. Our score... Oh, I'm sorry.
That was a very fast first half. I was just going to check the time and thought there was another 5 minutes left, but that's done for the half there.
Time flew almost as fast as the skaters out there.
That's right, Rich.